Hi and welcome to this short tutorial on using the mobile phone app called Fieldtask. So Fieldtask is a mobile phone application that is used to issue surveys in the field, and it's a good way of collecting data from people that programs on projects seek to benefit. So the first thing we're going to do today is learn how to install Fieldtask and how to configure Fieldtask, how to download some surveys, and how to complete some surveys. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is to talk about Android phones. You will need the phone that you use must be an Android phone, and it must have an SD card in it for storage, and you will need internet access at the start to set up Fieldtask. So that could be through a Wi-Fi connection or mobile phone data. So now we're looking at our Android phone. First thing we're going to do is open the Google Play Store. And if you don't have the Google Play Store installed on your phone, there is another way to download Fieldtask, but this is the most common way. So we're just going to type Fieldtask in. It's one word. We're going to type search. And so Fieldtask comes up and you see it's got that green F in the icon, and it's developed by Neil Penman. So that's how you can check you've got the right app. I'm just going to install that. After a few minutes, it'll be installed and ready to open. We could open Fieldtask straight away, but the first thing I'm going to do is to go back to my home screen, look at all my apps, and find Fieldtask in the list of all the apps. Then I'm going to tap on Fieldtask once, and I'm going to drag it into my home screen for easy access. I'm now going to open Fieldtask, and we're going to... I just had to quickly delete some forms that were already in Fieldtask from a previous use. So the first time you open Fieldtask, your screen should look similar to this with no forms available. The first thing we're going to do is to set up and configure Fieldtask. So the first thing we need to do is click on the three dots in the top right corner, which is the main menu. We're going to click General Settings. I'm going to go click the server or tap the server. Here we're going to configure the server URL. And in our case, it is esip.smap.com.au. We're going to enter in a username and a password. And then once those details are entered, we can tap the phone's back button to save them. We can have a quick look at some other settings. User interface. If you want to change the theme, we can make it dark. You can change the size of the font of the text if it's too small or if it's too big. And I think they're the only settings you need to worry about there. Under form management, there are some more options you can change, but again, I think it's best to leave all those at their default settings. There is a user and identity screen. And if you tap the form metadata, it's best to allow Fieldtask the permissions it needs. It doesn't need many permissions, but it does need access to your phone calls so it can get a unique number for your phone. And you can see here it's the device ID down the bottom. So we can just type a username. This doesn't have to be the same username that you use to log into SMAP. You can type in a phone number and an email address. And you can go back and tap back again and tap back again. So now we've done a basic configuration of Fieldtask. The next thing we're going to do is to get the blank survey forms from the server. So the server that we're talking about is called a SMAP server, and that's where all the forms are stored. And that's where also eventually all the data you collect will be stored. So to get the blank forms, we click on the three dots to get to the main menu, and we select Get Blank Form. So what happens there is that Fieldtask, using the internet, checks on the SMAP server what forms you have access to, and then it selects those forms, and then we just tap the Get Selected button down the bottom right-hand side. And you can see there's a message here saying that it's downloaded the test survey and a household test version of the post-install survey for the household. Sometimes no forms still no forms will display in the forms menu, so you just need to quickly tap the refresh button, which is the circle next to the three dots with an arrow on it. And after that, you'll see that after the refresh, the surveys will show up. You can see on the phone screen in front of you that we've got 3 key tabs to choose from up the top. We've got the Forms tab, the Tasks tab, and again, it's asked me for more permission, so I'm going to allow it. And we've got the Map tab. Now we're going to be spending most of our time on the Forms tab, and sometimes we'll have a quick look at the Task tab as well. The next key thing you're going to want to do as an enumerator is to learn how to start and complete a survey. So to start a survey in SMAP, it's very simple. You just tap on the survey you want to complete. In this case, let's complete the test survey. To move around within the survey, there's 2 key ways to navigate, or 3 key things you need to know. The first thing is to scroll up and down through the questions. You simply put your finger on the screen and swipe up, and that will show you the rest of the questions that are on the page. And in a minute, we'll have a look at how to go between pages as well, because one survey might have multiple questions or multiple pages with multiple questions on each page. So this is our test survey, and this would normally be the top Pidgin version of the survey. However, it's not in Pidgin, but we have just written the word top Pidgin before the question, so you can check, see that it is the top Pidgin language version. It is also possible to change the language of the survey, again by tapping the 3 dots at the top right-hand corner, selecting Change Language, and choosing between either the English version or the top Pidgin version. We're going to leave it on top Pidgin for now. So the first field you can see is a date field, and it says, what's the date of the interview? So to set the date, we just tap Select Date. Tap the date. We could also navigate through the different months by pressing the arrows at the top. In this case, we're going to set it at today's date. I'm going to click OK. We can then scroll down by tapping our finger and swiping up. And it's saying for us, select the province where you live. So I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow and select my province. Enter my name. In this case, it would be the name of the person you're interviewing. Select your gender. So I'm going through things fairly fast, but so when you tap in a text field, a keyboard pops up and allows you to type in a response. After typing in your response, you can either look on your phone for a back button or a button that makes the keyboard go away, and that returns you back to the survey ready to enter your next response. The next question is a multiple choice question. So the respondent gender, I can select between male, female, or other. So it's just a matter of tapping on the option that you'd like to select and then tapping on the screen and scrolling up to see the next question. The next question is a select multiple question, and you can see the difference here. With the select one type of question, a multiple choice, the checkboxes are round, whereas when it's a select multiple, the checkboxes are square. So when I select multiple, you can actually select multiple answers. So if the question is, what do you like to eat? I might like eating apples and bananas and ice cream and cake. And so I can select all those options. Or if I change my mind and actually I don't like eating ice cream because it's too sweet, I can uncheck it as well. The next question asks how old the person is. To respond to this question, I need to tap just below the question in the response box, and a number keypad has appeared, and I'm going to type in the age. So I might say that I'm 50 years old, and I'm going to click the Done button to return back to the survey. Now I've left a note in this survey just to let us know that if the person is over 18 years of age, they get asked an additional question. And the question is, are you married? And today I'm going to say no. Now I'm going to use my finger to tap on the screen and scroll up. And as I do that, there's actually no more questions appearing. And this tells me that I've reached the end of the page and that there are no more questions for me to answer on this page. So the next thing I can do is to swipe, use my finger, touch the screen and swipe to the left. And as I do that, you'll see that the next screen of questions has appeared. The first question is actually asking me to take a photo using my phone. So I'm going to just click the Take Picture button. I'm going to need to grant the phone access to my camera. And then I'm going to find the item I need to take a photo of. In this case, I'm just going to take a photo of a plant. Tap the photo button to take the picture and tap OK if I'm happy with the photo. Otherwise, I can click Retry. I can then scroll down. I can see the next question is asking me to record my current location. And there's a button called Start GeoPoint. So the Start GeoPoint button is a way of activating the GPS unit on your phone to collect the current GPS coordinates. Now SMAP is automatically set up to lock in or to record your position once the accuracy is within about 3 or 5 meters. At the moment, my accuracy is about 37 meters. So that's quite a long way away. I'm inside, and so when you're indoors, it doesn't work as well. If you're out in the open, you're more likely to get a better accuracy. If it's taking a long time to get a good accuracy, what you can do is click the Save GeoPoint button down the bottom right-hand corner, and that will lock in the existing coordinates that the phone has at the existing accuracy. So generally speaking, if you're outside within 10 or 20 seconds, you should have an accurate reading. However, if you don't, you can just click the Save GeoPoint button to allow you to continue your work. And when you do that, you can see it's recorded the latitude, longitude, and the accuracy. If I wanted to change my location or do that activity again, I just simply click Change Location. And there's not many satellites around, which is why the location is not very accurate. Okay, I can see here that that final question says, any comments? Any final comments? So to answer that question, I'm just going to tap below and I'm going to type in a response. And then I'm going to scroll up. And as I scroll up, you'll see there's no more questions on the page. So to move to the next set of questions, I use my finger, tap it on the phone and swipe to the left. You'll see here now it says you're at the end of the test survey, and I can click a button called Save Form and Exit. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to use my finger, tap on the phone on the left-hand side and swipe to the right. And as I do that, you'll see that it's gone back to the last set of questions. I can do the same thing again. I can tap with my finger on the phone and swipe to the right, and you can see I'm back to the first set of questions. So by swiping up and down and to the left and the right, I can move my way between the questions. I can also tap on the arrow in the top right corner next to the 3 dots. So it's an arrow pointing to a dot. And if I click that arrow, it enables me to navigate quickly through the list of questions and go to the specific question. So if I want to go to the Are you married question, I can tap that and it should take me close to where that is in the list of pages. I can also go to the start of the survey, or I can go to the end of the survey quickly by navigating using that arrow. So now that I'm at the end of the survey, I'm going to save this form and exit the survey just by tapping that button. And what's happened then is the completed survey is now saved in my tasks. I know it's a completed survey because it's blue in colour, or sort of purple in colour, and it's got a tick on it. That means the survey is ready to be uploaded. I can tap on the survey to see what the responses were, but I can't change the responses. They're already locked in. And if I try to exit the survey, you can see it's asking me if I want to save the changes or ignore the changes. It actually doesn't save any changes, even if I click the Save Changes button, so I'm just going to tap Ignore Changes. If I complete the test survey again, I'm going to tap the test survey again, and this time I'm going to use Paul as the name. Paul's a male. Paul likes bananas. And then I'm going to tap the phone's back button one more time. If I do that, Fieldtask again is asking me if I want to ignore the changes or save the changes. If I tap Ignore Changes, it's going to pretend that I never started this survey. If I tap Save Changes, it's going to save the survey as a draft. In this case, I'm going to save the survey as a draft. And I can find that survey in my list of tasks. I can see the survey as a draft one because it's blue and it looks like a document. It doesn't have a tick through it. You can see the name's Paul. That was the name we typed in. So to edit this survey, all I need to do is tap that entry called Paul, and now I can go through and complete the survey. Paul is only 17 years of age. And so in this case, you can see that the last question that asks about marriage isn't showing because Paul isn't 18 years or older. I'm going to swipe to the left to see the next set of questions and take another photo. And I'm going to take another geopoint very quickly. Any final comments? Not this time. The other thing we're going to do with this survey is we're going to add an additional comment. So the any comments question here is really the kind of question you would ask the person that you're interviewing or surveying. You might ask them, is there anything else you'd like to share with me about the project or about the questions I've been asking you? And they would give you an answer. But when you want to write comments about the survey process or about problems you found, you tap the 3 dots in the top right corner to bring up the main menu and you select Add Comment. You then select Tap on the screen and the keyboard comes up. So this is really where I should have written a comment like, GPS reading isn't good. Or I could write something else about something I observed during the interview that I think it's important for the person analysing the data to know. Maybe there was something that the person said or did that I can't capture in the survey, but I still want to record it as part of my response. So by adding a comment is a really good way of doing that. Tap the phone's back button, click the Save Changes button down the bottom. Sorry, tapping the phone's back button got rid of the keyboard, and now by clicking the Save Changes button, it's saved that comment. I can now swipe to the left, and now I can save the form and exit. So you can see here that I now have 2 completed forms in my list of tasks. At the end of the day, or at periodic times during your work, you're going to want to upload these completed forms to the SMAP server so that the manager or the people analysing your data can see your forms, see the data you've collected. It's very easy to upload data to the SMAP server. All you need to do is to make sure you have an internet connection via Wi-Fi or your mobile phone data, and click the refresh button in the top right-hand corner, which is the little circle with an arrow pointing next to the 3 dots in the top right corner. So I'm just going to tap the refresh button, and you can see here we've got two forms that have been successfully submitted. I can then tap OK, and you can see now that those forms have disappeared from my list of tasks. If I tap the Forms menu, you can still see I've still got the 2 surveys here, ready to issue again. Okay, that's enough for now. So in this tutorial, we learnt how to install Fieldtask, configure Fieldtask, and complete a basic survey, how to save a draft survey and edit the draft survey, and how to submit our records to SMAP. Once the records have been submitted, it's a good idea to check with your supervisor or the person analysing the data to make sure that the data you've uploaded is in SMAP. And we'll have a look at how to do that in a minute in a different tutorial.